From the Ear to There Travel Studio, this is the Ear to There Disney Podcast.
The Ear to There Podcast, it's time to start the show. Be sure to hold on tight, here we go. Exploring all the different Disney destinations. Ear to There, it's time to start the fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There Podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week. I'm your host, Phil Gramlich, and each and every week I'll bring you a different Walt Disney World word and then give you background tips, tricks, hints, stories, thoughts, all kinds of stuff about that word. So let's get right into it. I don't think you're ready for this jelly. Why is it that? I always thought it was, this is the Destiny's Child song I'm talking about. I always thought it was, I don't think you're ready for this journey, until one time I looked it up and it was, I don't think you're ready for this jelly. And I was like, that is weird. That's a weird song lyric. Anyway, this week's Walt Disney World Word of the Week is brought to you by the letter E. E for electrical. And I will not be talking about the Main Street Electrical Parade this week. That may be another future episode. This week, I wanted to talk all about the Electrical Water Pageant. And first, before I give you some history and some background and stuff about the Electrical Water Pageant, I just wanted to say that if you haven't seen the Electrical Water Pageant, I am recording this in August of 2017. It's been around forever. If you haven't seen it, go see it on your next trip to Walt Disney World. It's a low-tech thing. It's not something that's futuristic like the screens on Avatar Flight of Passage. It's not a thrill ride like Tower of Terror or Splash Mountain. It's not some amazingly technological advancement. It's none of those things, but it is classic, pure Walt Disney World at its finest. I absolutely love it. My kids love it. And everyone I've told to go take some time out of their schedule, out of their busy trip to Walt Disney World to see the Electrical Water Pageant has totally loved it as well. So make sure to go see it on your next trip. If you haven't seen it, or even if you have and you want to see it, you really should see it again. You should see it more than once. So go see it. All right. Let's talk all about the Electrical Water Pageant. Here I am assuming that you know and you get what the Electrical Water Pageant is. Maybe you don't. So I'm going to talk a little bit about exactly what it is, and then we'll talk about the history of it and when you can see it. Oh, also, I apologize for the way I say water. I'm from Philadelphia, if you haven't guessed by now, and I say water. My kids, who are now growing up in the suburbs of the city, say, let me try to pronounce it the way my wife and kids do. They say water, I believe, but I still say water. So sorry about that. That's just the way I'm going to say it. All right. So let's talk about the Electrical Water Pageant. So what is it? So the Electrical Water Pageant is a show that takes place every single evening on Bay Lake and on the Seven Seas Lagoon in Walt Disney World. The water pageant features 14 floats with lights that depict images of sea creatures on them. So, like I said, it did debut in 1971, meaning it's one of the few shows that are still running in Walt Disney World from its opening year. The Electrical Water Pageant debuted on Monday, October 21st, 1971. As a part of the dedication day in Walt Disney World. On opening night of October 25th, like I said, of 1971, in addition to the 14 floats that the pageant still has, it also included fireworks and pyrotechnics that were shot off from the 14 floats itself and from an additional float that was behind the Electrical Water Pageant. And this whole first performance was filmed by the old TV show, which I'm sure you might remember, The Wonderful World of Disney, for its episode, The Grand Opening of Walt Disney World, which aired on NBC on Friday, October 29th, 1971. The original song that was used for the Electrical Water Pageant in 1971 was Baroque Hoedown. Yep, the same song that was made famous by the Main Street Electrical Parade. I'm going to play a little bit of that here so you know what song I'm talking about. Ready? Here we go. So that version of Baroque Hoedown was used for the Electrical Water Pageant from 1971 through 1977. And that same version of the song was used at the the Main Street Electrical Parade. This is a lot of electricals. This is hard to keep track of. The same version of Baroque Hoedown was used for the Main Street Electrical Parade from 1972 until 1974. And then in 1977, with the all-new debut of the Main Street Electrical Parade in both Walt Disney World and Disneyland, a new updated version of Baroque Hoedown was used for those two parades. Now, the original lineup of floats for the Electrical Water Pageant went as follows. There was the Sea Serpent, which took up 3 floats, the Whale, which was 1 float, 2 sea lions playing with the ball, that was 1 float, a clamshell opening and closing that revealed a mermaid, that was 1 float, 3 goldfish swimming in a bubble, that was 1 float, 3 jumping dolphins, which were 3 floats, 3 red-haired mermaids, which was 1 float, an octopus, 1 float, 3 flying fish, 1 float, 4 seahorses, 1 float, Neptune, 1 float, and of course, a partridge in a pear tree. Everything, all of those were true, except for the partridge in a pear tree that I added at the end. Okay, so the original version of the Baroque Hoedown played with the Electrical Water Pageant all the way up until 1976. And like I mentioned earlier, in 1977, that new Baroque Hoedown was added to a new lineup of floats for the Electrical Water Pageant. Along with that new version of Baroque Hoedown, there were also Disney movie-specific songs that played in the middle of the water pageant. I'm not going to go into all of the songs, but I will go into all of the floats that debuted with the new water pageant in 1977 and stayed there actually until 1995. And those floats were the Overture float, a Sea Serpent, which was made of 4 floats, a whale, which was 1 float, a turtle, which was 1 float, an octopus, 1 float again, 3 jumping dolphins, which were 3 floats, a brachiosaurus, which was 1 float, an electric eel, which was 1 float, then later switched to a crocodile, 4 seahorses, which were 1 float, and Neptune again, which was, again, 1 float. 1977 also saw the addition of the Stars and Stripes Patriotic Medley, which we still get today during the Electrical Water Pageant. That was, except for 1981, October of 1981 to October of 1982, when Walt Disney World was celebrating its 10th centennial, the patriotic song Stars and Stripes was taken out for the 10th centennial theme song, which I don't know off the top of my head. Maybe I'll try to find it and add it to this show. We'll see what happens on editing. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are proud to present a 10-year anniversary celebration of family entertainment. Walt Disney World's exciting 10-centennial Parade. Disney World! Disney World! Disney World! Welcome to a land of dreams, a kingdom full of magical things, where love and laughter come to stay. Welcome to a holiday.
In 1995, that ended and was replaced in 1996 by the version that we still have today in August of 2017. Now, the Electrical Water Pageant that we have today looks very, very similar to the version that debuted in October of 1971. But there have been some updates and additions made, and let me tell you what those are. So basically, each and every section of the Electrical Water Pageant has its own theme song within the pageant itself. So the Sea Serpent, which again consists of 4 floats, now has the song Boo Bop, 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 which is translated to I Love You Too from the movie Pete's Dragon. The Whale, which is 1 float, has the song Whale of a Tale from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. The Poor Turtle, which is 1 float, doesn't have its own theme song. That's a shame. The Octopus, which again is 1 float, has Poor Unfortunate Souls from The Little Mermaid. I love that song. The 3 Jumping Dolphins, which make up 3 floats, again have no theme song. Very sad. The Brachiosaurus now is back, has 1 float, and it's Walk the Dinosaur. Do you remember that song? Open the door, get on the floor, everybody walk the dinosaur. That's horrible. God, why would I do that to you? But the Electrical Water Pageant is why the band is still anywhere near relevant, I would think, because that song is still playing with the Brachiosaurus float. Then the Crocodile, which is 1 float, has the song Never Smile at a Crocodile from Peter Pan. You might remember, due to a very, very unfortunate incident a while back, the crocodile was removed from the water pageant. It has been returned, actually, to the Electrical Water Pageant in 2017. The 4 Seahorses are on 1 float and have the songs Fanfare and then Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, which is another great song. And Neptune, which is 1 float, has the songs Fanfare and again Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid. And these days, at the end, all the floats change to the American flag and stars, and they play the songs You're a Grand Old Flag, Yankee Doodle, and America the Beautiful. Then finally, the Electrical Water Pageant closes with the songs Fireworks and Jig from The Little Mermaid. And that's it. That is the background and the story for the Electrical Water Pageant. Like I said, next time you are in Walt Disney World over near the Magic Kingdom, make sure you go and see it. It's a great show. You can get great spots from the Wilderness Lodge, from the Polynesian, from the Grand Floridian, from Fort Wilderness. You can see the Electrical Water Pageant from a whole bunch of different spots around the resorts. It's a fantastic show. It's a lot of fun. Go check it out on your next trip. And that is going to do it for this week's Ear to There podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week. As always, I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for listening. These episodes are always fun to do because I can kind of bang out some fun Disney knowledge in like 10-15 minutes. So if you did like the episode, please just tell someone about it. There's got to be someone out there that you know that likes Disney, that enjoys podcasts. This is a perfect fit for that person. So please tell them about it. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much in advance for spreading the word about the Ear to There podcast and Ear to There travel and the Word of the Week shows and all that good stuff. All right, just remember, there will be a new episode of the Walt Disney World Word of the Week each and every Wednesday morning, as well as a new episode of the regular Ear to There podcast, and they will be released each and every Monday morning. So until next time, thank you again so much for listening. Have an amazing week. Bye-bye.